And I remember sitting in a meeting and being told that I need to own my whiteness and I need to own the fact that I have white privilege. And until I can own that and almost feel the embarrassment from it and the shame from it, only then can I start breaking, down the walls and be able to teach my students of color and to reach out to them, which of course is absolutely absurd.
Oh, man. Back with Andrew Marcus and Kyle Olson, and we're talking about the new documentary film, Recreating America. This, Andrew, you and I were talking a little bit on break, and Kyle, I'm going to throw this question to you as well. The school district in Wisconsin, they hold the position that the reason that there are minority children in special education is it just minority children or any children that are in special education is because the system's racist, not because the teachers have failed to actually teach the children or there could be another underlying issue. That's the position they hold.
Absolutely. There is a legitimate problem. There is an overpopulation in the special ed section. The problem is that the way that they approached trying to figure out why that was happening is completely absurd. The system, it definitely does take in too many minority students, but instead of looking at, geez, why is the system failing these students? Yeah. Why is the mainstream system failing these students? They didn't look at that at all. They just took it as an opportunity to insert their political manifesto and claim racism over the entire system and divide everybody. That was the conclusion they came to. I think that there are a host of other reasons why there is an oversampling of the minority population in special ed.
And Kyle, is there somehow like an inordinate amount of students in special education in Wisconsin schools, or what's the real reason for the number of students in special education there? What do we know about that?
Well, what they say in terms of minority students, the whole premise is that especially the white teachers don't understand the minority students. Their cultures are different, and therefore they are misclassifying them as needing special education services. And so the solution, instead of trying to provide additional tutoring or doing those sorts of things for students, the solution is to change the perspective of the teacher. And what Andrew was alluding to prior to the break, which I think cannot be overemphasized, is that what is happening is you've got these teachers, you've got the trainers, the speakers at these programs saying, look, we should have minority teachers teaching minority students. And so you're basically having this resegregation going on. Right. But then in addition to that, these speakers are actually suggesting that there are different expectations for students based on their race. And so if a student wants to show up late and they are of a certain race, then that's okay because that might be part of their culture. Or if they want to dress a certain way, that's okay because that's part of their culture. But the problem with that is you go out into the real world where you have to answer to an employer. Right. Who wants you to show up at a certain time, or they want you to dress a certain way, and you come out of a school that just lets you do whatever you want, and then you go to that employer and you tell them, well, I'm just going to do whatever I want. You're going to be out of a job, and so they're setting kids up to fail.
It's the soft bigotry of lowered expectations, Andrew.
When I went to school, and I went to public school, I went to private school, and I remember they ingrained it in us. We are all created equal. Now, either we're all created equal or we're not. And if we're all created equal, then we all have the same opportunity to learn in our schools. Yeah. But the premise that they're setting up is that we are not all created equal, that minority students of multiculturalism, they all need to be taught according to their specific cultural needs. To me, that's not equal. That's separate and unequal.
And speaking of unequal, Kyle, how is this unfairly what is the effect on students who actually could benefit from this money in special education, who perhaps now are being overlooked because you have the Wisconsin Public School District insisting that everything be taught through the prism of race?
That's right. It's cheapening the whole process. And you touched on standards earlier. What it's doing is it's creating this collectivism within the system. And so if there are kids that are not doing so well, then we need to lower the standards for everyone. And it's just, to me, it's ruining America, and it's ruining. They're taking out competition. They're taking out. They're taking out the incentive to improve and to do better. And these sorts of programs, I think, are fulfilling the left's mission of creating collectivism, frankly, creating socialism within our schools and therefore within America.
So we basically need to find out whether or not in our particular school district we have some Samuel Betances programs. I mean, really, in short, that's what we kind of need to do since he's been all over.
It's safe to assume that you probably do. I mean, this is absolutely a national story,
yeah,
and it's going to become a national epidemic.
I want to thank you both so much, Kyle Olson, Andrew Marcus, EAGnews.org, for bringing this story. And they're still following it, too, at EAG, so make sure you check that out. Thank you both so much. I really appreciate it.